just how big the record business is. Here are some facts from Fortune magazine. Last year, the movie industry grossed $2.7 billion, a lot of money. But the record industry grossed $4.1 billion. That's even $1 billion more than we spent on all of spectator sports here in the United States. So, if the record business is in trouble, our economy may be in trouble. And the record business is in trouble. Sales boomed right through 1977 and early 78 with records like Saturday Night Fever and Frampton Comes Alive setting new highs in sales. But then the bubble burst, and by the end of last year, records were piling up in the stores. There has been a wave of layoffs at the record labels.
Yes, there's a slump in record sales. It's of varying degrees. There is no one source for an industry-wide figure.
Bob Merlis is publicity director for Warner Brothers Records.
But it's very apparent that a number one record in today's market is not selling what a number one record would have sold, say, 18 months ago. It's quite clear that you can do without a phonograph record if it's a question of your next meal or a phonograph record. Price increases have not been demonstrably counterproductive in terms of sales. I've heard a lot of people in the sales area say if they want it bad enough, they will pay anything for it. If you go into a record store with the idea to buy a certain record and another one catches your eye, perhaps you'll only buy the certain record instead of doing that impulse buying for the other one that looks interesting, but you're not totally committed to purchasing that record.
Bob Delanoy manages Tower Records on Sunset Strip.
They got caught with too many records basically laying out there, too many people involved in the whole process. And when the economy started to slide, so did the record. They were immediately one of the first ones to go. It got so out of hand after Saturday Night Fever and Grease and a couple of albums like that, that they thought the record industry was really coming into its, heyday. Their expenditures, as far as wasting money in promotion and having extra bodies around that they didn't really need. They just got caught in the decision, well, hey, the boat's coming in and let's get ready for it. And the boat didn't come in.
The Dickies are a local band who have made it big, but they've made it big in England, not in the United States. Now they're back home finishing up their second album, and they're hoping that the budget cutbacks don't hurt the promotion of the record.
The promotional gimmick type things are being carefully assessed to determine whether they do have an impact in the marketplace. Maybe only one poster of a major star is needed rather than three, a series of posters, or a paperweight and a belt buckle. More than anything, this whole downturn is giving us pause to think out our moves, and it's probably, in the long run, a good thing. It makes this business a little more business-like.
Unlike the record companies, business at L.A.'s rock clubs, like the Whiskey A Go-Go here on the Sunset Strip, is better than ever. And L.A. bands are beginning to be signed by major record labels. They follow the lead of a group called the Knack. A year ago, the Knack was playing the local clubs in L.A. Then their first album came out in August, and it went right to #1 on the charts. Troubadour club owner Doug Weston.
Starting in September, October of '78, it really started popping here. The Knack was one of those early groups which we played here, starting about June of '78. And they played here about 19 or 20 times, very consistently, through that entire period until they were signed by Capitol in December of '78. There is a very, very vital L.A. club scene. There are many, many acts. There are very strong acts and very fine acts that have practiced their craft over a long period of time. 707 is one of the finest bands I've seen in its field, which is basically pop rock and roll, in a long time. I hope as this scene continues that the record companies will have, as they sign these bands, have the insight and the awareness that they do have some sort of obligation to the clubs that help create these acts.
Well, I just hope the record companies do learn a lesson